You know what else was great to see today? That Josiah Jefferson is going to be joining Utah football for this coming season. Some of you may be going, who is that? Well, he's a 3-star, 6'5", 230-pound tight end who played at Southwestern College and is now going to be coming to Utah. And you may say, okay, well, what about him? He's a 3-star tight end, like all that. Yeah, he was a number 1 JUCO tight end and the 4th-ranked JUCO player in the class of 26 because the thought was he'd be playing JUCO football for one more year and then join Utah. But no, he's joining Utah right now. Steve Barton of KSL Sports reports that he's been added to the roster, and Utah football put that out there as well. He also said that this is comes to us from Steve Bartle. The expectation was he would join in January as a 26 signee. He had his AAA, but to sign now, he needed an NCAA waiver, which has always been a crapshoot. So this is a pleasant surprise. This is massive for Utah football to get. You're talking about a guy who produced at the collegiate level last season. Yes, it's JUCO to P4. So is he ready to make that jump? We're going to be interesting to see, but he's got some talent, right? Last year, 23 catches for 213 yards. And before you go, that's not very much. Look at other tight end numbers. So you'll see a lot of tight ends, like it's hard for them to crack the 300, 400 yard. And you may also be thinking when you hear that, well, how is he going to do that at Utah then? It's not going to be easy, but he has the skill set to be able to do it. Also has NFL bloodlines. I mean, he's the brother of longtime NFL DB Tony Jefferson. Utah was also not the only guy interested in him. It's not like they found a diamond in the rough. They just straight up found a diamond. I mean, he chose Utah over Oklahoma and Arizona, which is massive. And Jefferson, to me, is a guy. He's going to bring size, speed, and athleticism. He adjusts to the ball well in the air when you turn on the tape. He can hold on to balls after contact, too. Does a good job absorbing those blows and still maintaining possession on the catch. Got good speed. Changes direction well. Can win versus man and zone coverage. Tough to tackle. Got some wiggle to his game. Good concentration. Sounds like the best tight end on Utah's roster when I lead all that, right? Well, I'm just telling you the things he does well, but he needs to do all those things well and consistently at the P4 level. That is what we're going to get to see in fall camp, how he compares and just competes with a wild Utah tight end room. Let me say that again. A wild Utah tight end room. I cannot believe the state of the Utah tight end room. It's not great, like if we're just being honest, but also they've changed things up, right? This offense doesn't matter as much. Fred Whittingham talked about that too, right? He said like, hey, they're going to be more H-back style. They're going to have all kinds of different guys coming in at tight end, and it's not going to be your traditional massive tight. The only traditional tight end that Utah currently has that's going to be lining up a tight end is Dallin Bentley to me, a Snow College transfer. So when we look at this and go, okay, what does the Utah tight end room currently look like? Because Utah obviously used to be one of the premier destinations to be a collegiate tight end in college football. That's changed with this new Jason Beck offense, and the tight end room reflects that. You have such a hodgepodge of players and talents that it is just surprising. This is an offense that produced a first-round pick at tight end and one of the most productive tight ends collegiately that we'd seen over a few-year sample when Brant Keithy was at his best. So this is Utah's tight end room. Otto Tia, wide receiver at Utah State, who had over 500 yards that last year. But didn't it look great in the spring? So they're having him be a tight end to see if it can work better there. Hunter Andrews, who was a running back and linebacker last year, or linebacker coming to college, then played running back, and now they turned him into a tight end. So it kind of shows you how all over the board he's been. We already mentioned Dallin Bentley. He played tight end for Utah last year, but didn't really stand out a ton. Made a couple of grabs, a couple of plays. He's probably the best blocker of the bunch here, but he just did not catch your eye on tape last year. I'll just say, or really stand out for this Utah team. So we'll see. And he's had an offseason. Maybe he's gotten better. JJ Buchanan, this is a guy that Fred Whittingham did say is at 225, so he's gained weight, but he hasn't lost speed and explosiveness. So he said he's a guy who has a great summer, but even Fred Whittingham said that he's looking at him more as a special teams guy, or he just said, look for him on special teams. But just to me, when you bring that up, and he's a true freshman already, learning the tight end position, yes, he's ran routes, but I don't see him being one of the guys as you, Buchanan. So you get and Buchanan was one of the top athletes that Utah landed in this most recent class. I think he could be a really special player, but I think it's going to be a little bit till we see him out there. Then we get Jefferson. And then, of course, Lander Barton decided to join this tight end room because why the heck not? So if that isn't the wildest tight end room, you fast forward to the year like Dalton Kincaid and Brant Keithy had, and I'm sure we're all thinking like Utah's going to have great tight ends forever. Now we look, and I'm not trying to shade those guys. It's just a fact that like these guys are none of these guys are proven collegiate tight ends. Last year on my show, a take I obviously wish I could have back, I said that Utah had the best tight end room in college football. It ended up being wrong. But honestly, looking back on it, it could have been come to fruition if they had better quarterback play. You have a Duke starting tight end now, Landon King. I still think Landon King can be really good, and Utah missed him a few times. It just made some mistakes, unfortunately, where they made some mistakes in not getting the ball that it's just unfortunate that he wasn't able to have his potential maximized here, right? Then outside of King, who do you have? You have Caleb Lomu, Caleb Lohner, who ended up being drafted, but a monster physical freak for a tight end position with great vertical. You had Brant Keithy, who's an incredibly productive tight end, and Carson Ryan, who's now starter at BYU. So Utah had 3 starting tight ends in their room last year, and the other one was drafted to the NFL. That's an insane tight end room, and it is a very far cry different for this coming season. So when going, okay, who are going to be the guys in this tight end room? I will say right away, I hinted at it a little bit, but J.J. Buchanan is the guy right now I'm going to rank at the bottom of this list of most likely to be Utah's most productive tight end. Just being a true freshman. Yes, he was a productive receiver, but it's a weight transformation, learning Utah. It's hard for true freshmen to play, especially at a position like tight end. I'll say I don't know many true freshman tight ends that come in and do their thing. It's similar to offensive line, right? Where there's just a physicality that's expected from a blocking standpoint that usually you don't see guys play early on, right? So Buchanan, I think, sees the least amount of tight end snaps. This one might surprise some of you, but just based on this room and how late in the game they're getting up there, I actually, even though I was talking about all things Jefferson can do well, I'm actually going to rank him at that. I think we'll see him the 5th most amount among the tight ends, right? And there are other tight ends on this roster, I should say really quick, but I don't think that they're just going to see very much time. I think that we're going to see these are the guys that Utah's going to roll with, like Drew Clemens, Broderick Redden. They're both true freshmen. I'm not expecting to see much of them. Like Buchanan is clearly ahead of those guys to me. But back to this. So Jefferson, I just think it takes time. I don't think you can just jump in all of a sudden and be ready to roll. I think the reason, like, yes, he was supposed to have another year at JUCO anyways, but I also think the reason was like, hey, getting up to speed, development, all of that stuff so that you're ready to roll. I think he should use his red shirt this year. And then for the next 2 years, he could be a guy for Utah. I just think it takes time to learn this offense. I think it's just working on as well, being able to separate and do all the things you were doing at the community college level to get up to speed for what that playing speed is like at the P4. So I think that's part of it too. So I like I said, he's 5 for me right now. 4th most snaps, I'll go Lander Barton as we sit here. Maybe Lander will play a little bit more than that. I think we'll see Lander some, but I don't think it's going to be a ton because I think Dallin Bentley is Utah's best blocking tight end. So I actually think from a snap perspective, we may see the most of him. Or actually, I'll go 2nd most for him. Then Hunter Andrews, because I just don't know how much Utah will use a traditional tight end, but we've heard Andrews did turn a lot of heads. The top 3, honestly, are pretty interchangeable for me. And then I do think Otto Tia sees the most snaps because we've heard that this tight end is like a bigger wide receiver. Well, have the wide receiver who had 500 yards collegiately last season. Yes, a group of 5, but he's going against linebackers. Like that's a mismatch. So I do expect Tia to see the field a lot for Utah. So I'll go Tia sees the field the most, then Bentley from a blocking perspective when Utah wants to utilize a tight end to block, and then Hunter Andrews gets in a fair amount too. I think those will be the main 3 tight ends. Then we'll see some Lander Barton. I think Jefferson and Buchanan end up redshirting, with Buchanan maybe contributing more on special teams. But yeah, for me, that's how the tight end room is going to shake out. I am curious to see what it does end up looking like in the end, though. Make sure you guys drop your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think the Utah tight end room is going to look like in 2025? Today's show is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy gain. Let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. I played 8 holes last week, I played 9 holes last week, and as I was getting ready for the next 9, I was like, I am not ready for this. That's where 5 Hour Energy helped me get through the grind of golf, the fun grind, but it can be a grind playing 18 in this heat. So golf is about just having good time with people and good flavors, of course. The grape, ginger, lime flavors are the best part of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive $20 off your first order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Head over and get 5 Hour Energy today. That's going to do it for today's Locked On Utes. We'll be back with you tomorrow as we continue to cover Utah in the midst of fall camp.